Good morning, kindergarten friends and first grade if you're watching. This is a good review for first grade. We are going to be talking about two-dimensional shapes to start off with. A two-dimensional shape is something that's flat, kind of like this here, or the pictures that are up here, which means there's a length and there's a width. So only two things that you need to look at. Some of these are really simple. Triangle, hopefully you all know them. Well, I know you know them because I assessed you on them. So the triangle, the circle, the oval, the rectangle, the square. Many of us call this a diamond, but the math word, which is a big word, is called a rhombus. And in some of our pattern blocks, we've seen the blue one, which is about this size, and then there's a skinny one. And then we go into other things that you've seen, a trapezoid, which is 4 sides. And then we've got the pentagon, the hexagon, the heptagon, and the octagon. And we're going to talk about each of those and why they're named that. Let's start first with the triangle, the one we know that has how many sides? 1, 2, 3. So it has 3 sides, and then we call these, we've been calling them corners, but a big math word, I'm going to teach you that too, is vertices. So there's 3 vertices, which are 3 corners. Then you have the circle. How many sides does a circle have? It's round, never ending. It has 0 sides. So does it have any corners? No corners. So we go to the oval, same thing. Does the oval have any sides or vertices? Because it's round, it doesn't. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 shapes that have 4 sides, which means how many vertices or corners do they have? 4. And then we get into the bigger ones. As they get bigger, more sides are added. So we have a pentagon. What's after 4? Pentagon would have 5. Does anyone know of a building that's named the Pentagon? Look it up. Have mom and dad show you. Guess how many sides it has? 5 sides. That building also has 5 sides, which is why it's called the Pentagon. So 5 sides, guess how many vertices? 5. Then we go to the next one, hexagon. How I remember this one is it has 6 sides, and 6 also has an X, like hexagon. So that's how I remember that's a hexagon, has 6 sides and 6 vertices. Then you have the heptagon, which has that 6, this one's 7. So heptagon. And then an octagon, we've all seen if we've been out driving with moms and dads. Usually it's red, has the letters S-T-O-P, which is stop. So as you're going throughout your day in your house, if you go out on a drive up to the mountain, be looking for just these shapes. They make up a lot of things, just like when I was drawing on math binders. Circle for the cat head, triangles for the ears. So look for these shapes in the things that you find, and find your math packet. We're going to come sit here so I can show you what I've got here. The math packet is 2D shapes. At the very beginning are pages all about, put it down here, all the different shapes. So you can color it, the silly face, trace them. You should color them in, all the triangles. Spell triangle, trace it, write it, draw it by connecting the dots, and then count how many sides. In this packet they use corners, but remember our new word, vertices. And you're going to do, because of how it is, some of you know this already, it's just good practice. Go ahead and do these. Take your time in doing them, and I'm not going to go through each of them, but there's the one for the square, the circle, the rectangles, then it goes to the pentagons, which is the 5, the hexagons, which is 6, and the octagons. So you notice it missed the heptagon, the 7 shapes. So go ahead and do these pages. Good practice. Hexagons are hard to draw, so luckily they gave you the dots to help you with that. Work through these at your own pace. Tomorrow we'll go to the next page. If you're not done with these pages, that's okay. Just take your time in doing them, because I want you to be able to work on that. So just those ones that have the shapes that look like this, work on your own. I introduced them now. While you're going through your house looking for these shapes, you can even make them. I made a couple shapes here with some, what are these?
No, Tinker Toys.
I made an octagon, which has 8 sides, and a square that has 4, and all my vertices. You can try and do Legos, whatever you have at home. See what you can make shapes
Straws and marshmallows.
Straws, oh, that's a good one.
Or toothpicks and marshmallows.
Toothpicks and marshmallows. I happen to have at school here some, what are these? They're like tongue depressors or popsicle sticks. And mine are color coded because they match the shape that I made with it. So you can use, if you've eaten a lot of popsicles, save them. This one is the square, 4 sides, 4 vertices. So use whatever you can to make the shapes as you go along through the day. Have fun creating them with different things that you're building with. If you want to draw some, make pictures using the shapes throughout this whole time that we're doing this packet. Just enjoy drawing some things because everything we draw has shapes. I wanted to make sure I had time to read this fun book. It's one of my favorites. It's The Greedy Triangle. And that's how I would have started out this unit with you if you were here. So now I'm going to do it with you now. So it's The Greedy Triangle. It's written by Marilyn Burns.
I'm going to move closer.
Once there was a triangle that was, as most triangles are, always busy. The triangle spent its time holding up roofs, supporting bridges, making music in a symphony orchestra, catching the wind for sailboats, being slices of pie and halves of sandwiches, and much, much more. So if you look around, you can see all the different triangles, the different parts. The house, the roofs. The triangle's favorite thing, however, was to slip into place when people put their hands on their hips. There's a triangle. That way, I always hear the latest news, it said, which then I can tell my friends. The triangle's friends liked hearing the news. One day, the triangle began to feel dissatisfied. I'm tired of doing the same old thing, it grumbled. There must be more to life. So the triangle went to see the local shapeshifter. How may I help you? The shapeshifter asked the triangle. I think if I had just one more side and one more angle, another corner or vertice, said the triangle, my life would be more interesting. Well, that's easy to do, said the shapeshifter said. So poof, the shapeshifter turned the triangle into a quadrilateral, which is like a what shape? A square. Life changed in a wonderful way. The quadrilateral was happy with all the new things it could do. This is a mouthful. The quadrilateral could be a baseball diamond, or first or second or third base. It could take a position on a checkerboard or a chessboard. It could be a television screen, a computer screen, or a movie screen. It could frame windows or frame pictures and much, much more. The quadrilateral's favorite thing, however, was to be the pages of a book. I learned so many interesting stories that way, it said, which I can then tell my friends. Quadrilateral's friends liked hearing the stories. But one day, the quadrilateral began to feel dissatisfied. I'm tired of doing the same old thing, it grumbled. There must be more to life. So the quadrilateral went back to the shapeshifter. How may I help you now? The shapeshifter asked the quadrilateral. I think if I had just one more side and one more angle, said the quadrilateral, my life would be more interesting. That's easy to do, said the shapeshifter. So get ready, say poof with me. 1, 2, 3, poof! The shapeshifter turned the quadrilateral into a pentagon. Now he has 5 sides. Life changed in a wonderful way. The pentagon was happy with all the new things it could do. On a baseball diamond, the pentagon could be home plate. It could be a section on a soccer ball, or appear inside whenever someone drew a 5-pointed star. The pentagon's favorite thing, however, was to be at the headquarters of the United States military near Washington, D.C. I hear all the top secrets that way, he said. It's too bad I can't tell my friends. The Pentagon's friends couldn't help feeling left out. Look how sad they are because they can't hear his secrets.
I found this on the web.
After a while, my watch is talking to me. After a while, time seemed to pass slowly for the Pentagon and it became dissatisfied. I'm tired of doing the same old thing, it grumbled. There must be more to life. So the Pentagon went back to the shapeshifter. So you're here again, the shapeshifter said to the Pentagon. Now what would you like? I think if I had just one more side and one more angle, said the Pentagon, my life would be more interesting. That's easy to do, said the shapeshifter. Get ready, 1, 2, 3, poof! The shapeshifter turned from a pentagon into, what would be the next one? 6 sides, a hexagon. Life changed again in a wonderful way. The hexagon was happy with all the new things it could do. The hexagon fit in as a floor tile in the house and patios, and fancy crackers at parties and picnics. It worked at the socket of certain bolts and on the prongs of certain wrenches. The hexagon's favorite thing, however, was to be the cell of a beehive. I loved watching the bees as they buzzed in and out, he said. The hexagon spent so much time in the beehive, it was too busy to talk to his friends. The friends missed the hexagon and couldn't help feeling ignored. Oh, they still have sad faces. Again and again, the shape became restless, dissatisfied, and unhappy with its life. Again and again, it returned to the shapeshifter for more sides and more angles. The shapeshifter agreed to turn into one shape after another, a heptagon, an octagon, a nonagon, a decagon, and so on. Finally, the shape had so many sides and so many angles, its sides were so small that it had trouble keeping its balance. Its friends couldn't tell which side it was on and began to avoid the shape. It's starting to look like a circle. One day, when the shape was going down a hill, it began to roll faster and faster it went, screeching around corners, crashing into fences and trees, colliding with bicycles and terrifying walkers. At last, the shape came to a stop. It felt tired and dizzy, lonely and sad. Enough, thought the shape. I don't know which side is up. I can't keep my balance. My friends don't want me around. The shape could no longer remember why it had been so unhappy as a triangle. Very carefully, it made its way back to the shapeshifter. Aren't you happy yet? The shapeshifter asked. I want to be a triangle again, said the shape. I'm not surprised, said the shapeshifter. So poof, the shapeshifter turned the shape back into a triangle. The triangle was delighted to have its old shape back again and kept itself very busy. Once again, it held up roofs, supported bridges, made music in a symphony orchestra, caught the wind for sailboats, became slices of pie and halves of sandwiches, and much, much more. Still, the triangle's favorite thing was to slip into place when people put their hands on their hips. That way, I always hear the latest news, it said, which I can then tell my friends. Its friends liked hearing the news and were glad the triangle was back in shape again. The end. So he learned being himself was the better thing to do. So as you're going around your house and all the places, remember, look for your shapes. Find them wherever you can and do the pages in the book. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.